ever felt like you've hit a wall? Emotionally, spiritually, physically? Like something you prayed for, waited for, hoped for just ended. And you said to yourself in that moment, this is it. This is where the road ends. What if I told you there are no dead ends with God? Only detours, recalculations. Only fresh starts that feel like endings. And let me say this to you. God has given you one more day. What are you going to do with it? Today's message is not just about hope for tomorrow. It's about permission to live today again. It's permission to live again right now, today. Because fear is not your future. And today isn't your end. It's the beginning of the next chapter. God is still with you. You're still writing the book. What if your life isn't stuck? What if you're right on the edge of something brand new? Fear says this is the end. God says this is just the turn before the view. With God, there are no dead ends, only divine detours. Dead ends aren't final. They feel final. And fear loves a full stop. And we mistake delay for denial. God's taken his hand away. God's not involved. God's telling me no. We say to ourselves, is this it? I must have blown it. It's over. There's a story in the Old Testament, in the Bible, about this Red Sea. And a whole nation of people were fleeing from an enemy nation where they had been slaves. And God sent them a man to lead them out, the whole bunch of them. And all of a sudden they found themselves trapped between this enemy's army, Pharaoh, and a sea called the Red Sea. And they all cried out, was it because there was no graves in Egypt that you brought us here to die? Maybe you felt like that this week. You could have taken me before this. You didn't have to bring me to this point. I mean, if this is all there is, God, you could have buried me a long time ago. But God said, move forward. And the sea parted. And what looked like a dead end was really a door of opening and opportunity. This is why Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16 through 18, though outwardly we're wasting away, inwardly we're being renewed day by day. What is seen is temporary. What is unseen is eternal. He invites us to look at what we can't see, which is difficult because we're human. We're born into a culture. We're, as humans, given our five senses, what we can see and taste and smell, and so that becomes a reality. And God invites us into a different reality than what we can see and taste and sense with our senses. And even when you've come to the end of yourself, God steps in. He is the God of detours, the God of resurrection. And oh, by the way, God doesn't avoid dead ends. He transforms them. How many of you, I don't have my phone on me, it's being used as a monitor this morning for those of you that want to text us. But have you ever been traveling somewhere, going somewhere, maybe here in the city, and you use your phone as a GPS? Or maybe your car has GPS, and you plug in the coordinates. And then you decide to detour. For some reason, you get off of the street, or there's construction that the GPS didn't know about, and all of a sudden you find yourself detouring. Maybe you decided to get a candy bar at 7-Eleven, and 7-Eleven is over here. How many of you have ever noticed on your GPS, it'll stop for a moment, and then it will tone, and it will say recalculate. If you look at the screen, it'll say recalculating. And it will recalculate the path that you're to take from this new point that you've moved over to. See, when you miss a turn, God doesn't shut things down. The whole system doesn't fail. He just recalculates from where you are. That should give you hope. Even when I've blown it, even when I'm sinful, even when I've made a bad decision, yeah. God didn't blow the whole thing up. See, that's failure. Failure loves a hard stop. God says, no, I'm just going to recalculate. He's so good at that. You see it throughout the Bible. It's called resurrection. He is the God of recalculating our life. Even when we blow it and get off the path, He'll recalculate and resurrect that thing. He is recalculating your future. It's called grace in motion. Think about this. God's story for your life never ends in a cul-de-sac. Never. Even death isn't the end of history. In our song that we've been singing for this series, Fear is Not Your Future, He is. Death is not your future. He is. This complication in life isn't your story. He is. See? So even if you're facing unsurmountable circumstances, that's not your end. Trust Him. He's going to recalculate that thing. He'll just start you over. He'll take you from there and still get you to where you were going. Philippians chapter 1, verse 6, Paul says, He who began a good work in you will carry it out to completion. GPS, God's personal guidance system. GPS. God never hits delete, always resurrect. So, what do you do when you hit the wall? You ever hit the wall? Now, I'm not looking for a show of hands, but I have. I've been sharing with you through this series some of the personal walls that I've hit. One most recently with my career and income, significantly. So I've been following my own advice that I've been telling you on Sunday. Imagine that, a preacher listening to his own sermons. There have been some good advice in this series, folks. So what do you do when you hit the wall? First of all, number one, name it. Call it out. What is that thing that's speaking to you? This is the end, you know. You'll never recover. Call it out. Name it. Hopelessness. You feel stuck. You just lost your job. Thousands of dollars of income. You're going through a divorce. A dear friend has left your life. Maybe somebody in the family's died suddenly. Maybe a best friend. You've fallen out, and you don't know what you're going to do with their absence. Call it. Name it. Name it. Call it out. Don't be afraid of it. Name it. Call it out before God. Put this song, One More Day, on. Put it on in the car as you're driving. And call out that thing that's facing you with fear. Number two, rewrite it. Fear's a fiction. And we learned last week, you're the editor of the story. So tell a better story. This is what happened with Peter walking on the water. Peter wasn't sinking. He was imagining drowning. Peter didn't even begin to sink until he looked at the circumstances and imagined himself sinking, drowning. And oh, by the way, it's not the water Jesus changed. It was Peter's attitude. Fear's not reality, it's a projection, as we learned last week. The things that we so often fear never happen. But if you stop and think about it, the very nature of something that's fearful is something that hasn't happened yet. So I'm actually feeling afraid. I'm feeling tumultuous and anxiety over something that hasn't happened yet. So Jesus says, don't worry. Dear ones, resurrection is not just a theological concept or doctrine. Resurrection is a lens. Resurrection is a lens. It's how you choose to look at life. You better lift it off the pages of the Bible because it was never meant to live there. The lyric from our song, One More Day. What a gift. You gave me one more day to say, if nothing else, I love you. And that's where I broke down. Because when you're feeling overwhelmed with things, sometimes the most you can get out your mouth is, I love you. Not, where's the answer? How come you did this? Why didn't you stop this? I had it better back in Egypt. It's, I love you. I love you. I love you, Jesus. Sometimes that's all you can get out. And he'll always give you one more day to do that. Let me ask you something. If God gave you one more day, what would you do with it? Who do you need to call? Would you pursue that job application? What do you need to say yes to? What do you need to let go of? Did you pick this up in the song, I thought I was done, but now I just want to say thank you for one more day. Now, On my outline, I've got this in great big letters so I wouldn't forget it. And I know, Sound Booth, you're looking at my outline. So here it comes, everybody. God doesn't give you answers at dead ends. He gives you another step. That has been my resurrection this last week. As I thought about the what ifs and how will this happen? And oh God, what about this? And Lord. So I was in the sanctuary here, and actually it started in the car. I was driving. I had to run home to get something I had forgotten, and we were working on media. And in my car on the phone, I get a phone call. Somebody I hadn't talked to in years. Jeff, what's going on with you? So because of who this person is and the kind of business they have and the friendship we've had, I shared some of the details. And he said, well, that's very interesting because I called to offer you a job. I'd like you to come to work for my company. What do you need? How much will it take to replace what you lost? Now, I don't know. I just think rather than me worrying about everything and figuring out how to hammer it out, it's just a lot easier to get before him in worship. And cry if you need to. And say, if all I have is one more day, I'm going to thank you and tell you I love you. See, this is what Jesus means by he knows what you have need of before you ask. Don't waste the grace of today thinking it's over. The story isn't finished. The ink is still wet. Elijah was under the broom tree, as it's called in the Old Testament. I don't know what kind of tree that was. I don't imagine it was brooms hanging. It must mean something in the Hebrew. I don't know. Maybe our friend over here looks smart, like he would know, but I don't know what a broom tree is. I didn't take time to look it up, but Elijah was all burnt out. He had done a bunch of miracles. He had come against evil. He had, come against all the prophets of Baal, shown them for what they are, and won the battle, and oh my gosh, was delivering the nation. And then he just got flat discouraged. He was wore out, tired, and discouraged. He was exhausted. And he went and sat down under this broom tree and said, God, you might as well take me. I don't have any more courage. I don't know what my purpose is. I'm so overwhelmed with the circumstances. But God looked at him and said, get up. I've prepared somebody else to feed you. They're going to call you on Saturday afternoon when you thought you needed to be on your knees in prayer, preparing your outline, but you had to be at the church working on media. I'm going to have him call you just so I can smile, God says. I'm going to have him call you while you're on the car, running an errand, all peeved that you forgot this at home, and now you're going to waste 20, 30 minutes retrieving it and coming back out of a busy day. I'm going to have this person call you and offer you a job. You see, we need to declare it. Fear is not my future. This is not the end, and if nothing else, I've got one more day. You gave me one more day to tell you I love you. Just to testify of your grace. I'm going to play that song again. Jeff's got it for you back there. One more day. All right? And while you're listening to this, I want you to personally reflect. Who do you need to call? Do you need to pursue a job application? What do you need to say yes to? What do you need to let go of? Jeff, if you would.
Yeah.